Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our incredible event, CUACI Summit 2021, to empower and to thrive in the new normal era. I'm Fauziah, a PhD candidate of Western Australia School of Mines, Curtin University, and today I will be hosting the event for the next 3 hours. First of all, thank you to Curtin University Alumni Chapter Indonesia for hosting and organizing this fantastic webinar for all of us. We would also like to express our gratitude to all of you. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning, and I would like to greet our distinguished guests today. Australia Embassy in Jakarta, Commissioner of Western Australia Trades and Investments Office Jakarta, Professor Simon Leunig, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and President of Curtin, Malaysia, Ms. Jessica Vulin, from Alumni and Community Relations Coordinator, Australia Global Alumni in Indonesia Representative, Dr. Josephine Ratna, the first President of CUACI 2017-2019, guest speakers for the CUACI Summit 2021, Ibu Nukila Evanty, social justice activist and University of New South Wales alumna, and the second speaker is Mr. Nick Calpakdjian, filmmaker, creative producer to Islands Digital. Curtin Alumni Chapters President, Queensland University of Technology Indonesia Community, and UNSW Alumni Representative. Before we start the CUACI Summit, we will take a moment to sing the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Thank you. Then we take a minute to pray together based on our faith. Let's pray. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Now we would like to break down our important agenda for today's webinar. The first session will be the professional development session or inspiring talk session. This is open to public. Our first speaker is Ibu Nukila Evanty, a social justice activist. She will be talking about the social justice movements in the new normal era. Then our second speaker, Mr. Nick Calpakdjian, will be talking about how to empower the community through films and media. The second session will be the CUACI annual general meeting with all the members to evaluate the activities in the previous year, the farewell for the committee 2019-2021, and the inauguration ceremony for the committee 2021-2023. Okay, before we start, the CUACI President Heribertus Rintowibowo would like to say a few words. Please join me in welcoming Heribertus Rintowibowo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mbak Aja. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Rahayu, and salam kebajikan. Good morning, Ibu Bapak and all colleagues. I hope all of you are in a good health. And thank you very much for joining us today in this Saturday morning during weekend. Thank you for joining us today for the CUACI Summit 2021. We also today will celebrate the CUACI 4th anniversary. First of all, I would like to greet the distinguished guests. Today we have the guest speaker, Bu Nukila Evanty, and also Calpakdjian. Thank you for joining us for the CUACI Summit and for the inspiring talks, for the inspiration. And also Bu Josephine Ratna, and also Professor Simon Leunig, and also Jessica Vulin, and the representative from Queensland University of Technology Indonesia Community, and also from UNSW alumni representative. Thank you very much. We also invite some distinguished guests from Australia Embassy and Commissioner W. Trade, but unfortunately they couldn't join us today. But they deliver the wishes for us. And yeah, this is our 4th summit. So CUACI, Curtin University Alumni Chapter Indonesia, or CUACI, conducts an annual event since 2018. So CUACI held its first annual general meeting in Surabaya. And in 2019, CUACI held CUACI Summit 4.0 in Jakarta, in Perbanas, 2 years ago. And then in last year, we conducted the CUACI Summit via online. And yeah, this year we also conducted via online. And since April 2020, CUACI has also conducted more than 15 webinars with various topics and guest speakers, with a total of 1,500 participants join our webinars. We collaborated with a lot of stakeholders of Australia Global Alumni in Indonesia that always give support, continuous support to CUACI, and also CUACI alumni chapters from Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Hong Kong, and other alumni chapters. Like Queensland University of Technology Indonesia community, or QUIC. And we have today we have new friends. We have new collaboration with UNSW, University of New South Wales, with Bu Nukila, Pak Rusdi, and colleagues from UNSW. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this will be first and will be another other collaboration in the future. We also have other stakeholders, our partners, I would say partners, like Alex Media Computido, as CUACI also published a book with Alex Media Computido. This year, as part of our 4th anniversary, as our response to the new normal after the COVID-19 situation, we will highlight the efforts made in the recovery period through CUACI Summit 2021 with the theme this year is to empower and to thrive, welcoming the 5.0 era in the new normal. This one, we will also launch the CUACI book titled Surviving in the New Normal, Acceleration of the 4.0 Era to Welcome the 5.0 Era, or Bertahan di Normal yang Baru, Percepatan Era 4.0, dan untuk menyongsong 5.0. Nah ini we still discuss with the Alex Media about how we will launch the book, so it will coming soon. And yeah, today we will have two very inspiring speakers, Bu Nukila Evanty, she is a social justice activist from University of New South Wales alumna, and Pak Calpakdjian, filmmaker, creative producer from Two Islands Digital or 2ID. Yeah, we met from Tulodo ya, Pak Nick ya. Nick, and I just wondered, oh yeah, Pak Nick also from Curtin University, and he's working in creative agency. So why not sharing the empower the community through film, like our topic, our anniversary theme this year. And also Bu Nukila, she will discuss a lot about the social justice movement today. So we will learn a lot about how empower the community through the social justice movement. So I hope that you will learn a lot. You will have, you will get inspiration from these two inspiring speakers today. And I will also thank Mbak Aja as the MC or moderator today. Thank you very much, Mbak Aja. and also all the committee, the technical team, and also all participants here. And yeah, Curtin alumni have various backgrounds from academics, researchers, professionals, entrepreneurs, and many more. Having studied at Curtin University is one of the experiences that bring us together. So CUACI is a place where we could have opportunities to do a lot of innovative things. And the alumni network also allows us to foster cross-generational ties and maintain meaningful relationships. Through taking part in the alumni association, we will be able to cultivate our network. Hopefully, we can continue to make CUACI a place where we can share ideas, discuss opportunities, and create a network to manifest our full potentials. And it will not only just for alumni, but also for everyone. So we will keep inviting you in the future. We will keep send you invitation to join our webinars as long as you have registered to our webinars. So you will keep getting the newsletter or our email blast from Curtin. So we hope you also follow our social media to update our events in the future. Yeah. And today we will have also, like Mbak Aja mentioned, we will also have annual general meetings in the afternoon. And we will have these reports from the committee 2019 to 2021. So CUACI has a new committee from 2021 to 2023 that will be we will have an inaugural ceremony today for the new committee, and I hope you can stay for the annual general meeting session so you can see who will be in charge of the CUACI committee in the next year. I would also like to thank for the CUACI committee 2019-2021 for our hard work in the last 2 years. Also Bu Josephine and the first president for her hard work, and also the CUACI committee 2017 to 2019 for their hard work. So it will give us more inspiration to continue the hard work for the more interesting activities, more fun activities, and in the future. So yeah, we hope you enjoy the webinar and this inspiring talks. I hope we can see you again in the future. Thank you, and stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. Thank you very much. Get back to you, Mbak Aja.
Thank you, Mas Heri. The next session, we will be listening to the opening remarks from our distinguished guest. The first opening remarks will be from Professor Simon Leunig, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and President of Curtin, Malaysia.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be with you today for the CUACI Summit 2021. I've got another engagement, but I did want to leave a message of congratulations and support for today's efforts and the program ahead. I know that you've got many distinguished guests there, including visitors from the Australian Embassy in Jakarta, past President Dr. Jo, I'm sure she's there, Pak Harry, who will be running the show today, all of the alumni that are present. It's great to have you there. And I believe the Commissioner from the WATO office is there as well. So greetings to you all, and I hope you all have a very successful day. My memories of CUACI summits are very good. From the very first one that I attended in person in Jakarta to the numerous ones by video now. I hope you're all staying safe. Have a great day, and congratulations, Pak Harry.
All right. For the second opening remarks will be from Miss Jessica Vulin from Curtin University Alumni and Community Relations.
Selamat siang, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. I'm sorry I couldn't be there online. First of all, congratulations to Harry and the team for putting on another amazing and successful summit. The lineup that you have pulled together is absolutely incredible. So thank you and welcome to the distinguished guests and everyone. On behalf of the Curtin alumni team, we would like to also welcome the new 2021 committee. So welcome to the new Vice Presidents, Dr. Kusno Kamil and Ms. Federica Niken, and a special shout out to Apriana Toding, who will head the new Science and Engineering Division of the committee. Thank you to Mr. FX Andy Sutrason for your commitment to CUACI over the years. We are sad to see you go, but we thank you for your commitment. Since the CUACI launch in 2017, the committee has become one of our strongest global alumni chapters. One of Curtin's global missions is to change the future for the better, and I think the committee is a prime example that live by this. Through your events, communications, initiatives, support and services, you provide lots and lots of opportunities for Curtin alumni and their families living across Indonesia to give back and connect with the community and the university. Harry has asked me to touch on some of our values. So here at Curtin, we have 5 defined core values that we work by: integrity, respect, courage, excellence, and impact. The chapter already builds upon this foundation and demonstrates excellence in Curtin's values, vision, and strategy. Through your collaborative efforts, in particular with the establishment of the Curtin Alumni Asia Talks, you are aligning already with all these 5 values. Integrity, you all lead by example and act with care. You all come together to make things better for the greater of the world. Respect, understanding and valuing diversity to successfully collaborate together. Courage, being courageous in achieving your big goals and maintaining a commitment to making a big difference. Excellence, it's not about being the best, it is about doing your best with the right intention. Impact, you're working together to achieve a common goal and inspiring others to fulfill their potential. We really can't wait to hear what the incoming committee has in store for the next few years, and we can't wait to also partner with you. A quick update from our team. So our wonderful manager, Jose Hooper, will be going on parental leave very soon. We are really sad and going to miss Jose, but we're so excited for her and her husband, Andrew, to become parents for the first time. In Jose's absence, we will have a manager fill Jose's position for the time being. And we look forward to introducing the manager when they're on board. So thank you again for having me, and thank you for supporting today's summit. Enjoy the remainder of the day, and we really look forward to seeing each other soon. Take care and all the best. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for us for professional development session. The presentation from our speakers will be around 20 minutes each, then followed by the question and answer session for 15 minutes through Slido. We will share the Slido link during the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to share it with us through Slido, and the link we will be sharing in the Zoom column chat. And don't forget, everyone, attendance link will be shared during the Q&A session. Please do insert your full name and email address precisely, as the information will be recorded in order to issue the certificates of attendance. May we also ask for your cooperation in terms of the waiting periods for the e-certificates, as we may need about 1 week to issue the certificates straight from Curtin Alumni Office in Perth. Please also be advised that the certificates will only be issued once you have completed the attendance form. This event is going to be recorded and will be uploaded on CUACI YouTube channel, Curtin University Alumni Chapter Indonesia, which means we can watch it over and over again on CUACI YouTube channel. So please, everyone, don't forget to click like and subscribe. It is my great pleasure to introduce our speakers. The first speaker is Ibu Nukila Evanty. She is a social justice activist and a UNSW alumna. In 2020, she founded and now chairs a social justice movement called the Civil Society Coalition Against Corona, opening a legal complaints desk for poor communities affected by COVID-19 and overseeing government's health policy in handling the pandemic. Bu Nukila has also prepared a video about her background and experiences working in social justice field. We will play the video and please enjoy. Hello, Ibu Nukila, are you ready?
Hi, Aja.
Okay, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ibu Nukila Evanty.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, friends. I would like to say thank you to the committee for this opportunity, and also congratulations in organizing the 2021 CUACI Summit to empower and to thrive in the new normal era. The title of my presentation is Social Justice Movement in the New Normal Era. Yeah. To equate understanding, I would like to define first social justice from various literatures is a concept around equality among people along various social dimension that can be first pursued in the form of activism, which I will explain later on based on my experience. So social justice is the same categories with human rights defenders community, and then community lawyers, and then unionists, public interest journalists, or staff members of human rights organizations. We are the eyes, ears, and voice of our communities. As a social justice activist, I use human rights as a basis in my daily works and make it easier for me to recognize if there is in any injustice, or if there are a group of people who are left behind. In simple way, human right is to recognize the inherent value of each person, regardless of background, where we live, what we look like, what we think, or what we believe. As we can observe currently, some practice during the pandemic may have been inadvertently in direct conflict with human rights, certain human rights. For example, quarantines, and then travel bans, vaccination may have limited our rights and freedom, or can have consequences for personal safety, and then our mental health and well-being. The right to privacy and to confidentiality, the right to movement, the right to freedom of expression may have become threatened during the pandemic, restricting access to public places or taking action against journalists may have affected freedom of expression for others. This crisis in terms of the health of COVID-19 pandemic has also affected the social economic impact of condition of our people, of our community. This includes having an impact of condition of unemployment, for instance, inequality, and a condition of poverty. Share my experience to establish the civil society coalition against corona, or I call it KLC. In early March 2020, I had to form a coalition with other individuals and other institutions because of many limitations at the time. So how do we get involved in social justice issues? First is to raise our voice. This is the most significant, to be an advocate, an activist, to speak up. So by raising the voice for human rights, for gender equality, for instance, we can spread awareness and break down the barrier. During this pandemic, we have listened, right? We have received often heard complaints about mass and unilateral layoffs. For instance, people have difficulty to get social safety nets or bansos. Some people are not getting compensation from their works. Things like this can actually make us help voice what is going on. So this the second one, commit to small action. At the time when I established the civil society coalition against corona, I couldn't stand the situation at the beginning. What's going on. Okay. I think I could not stand the beginning when the corona outbreaks. I started to invite some friends, some old friends that I've known previously, to invite in the coalition. They have their own jobs, their own activities, but it's important amongst the coalition to sacrifice the commitment, thought, energy, time, and then our how do you call the one, our effort, yeah, to this coalition. We have wrote the letter to Pak Luhut, for instance, to the task force of COVID-19, and then to DPR or the House of Representatives, but no response. We signed petitions and also supporting campaigns, and then writing on the newspaper and towards the on online platform. I also established desk of complaints for those affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. This might seem insignificant, but they are a great starting point and can make a difference for the peoples affected. So, okay, what's wrong with this? And then the third one, get educated on issues. Get educated on the issues. Oh, get educated on the issues. We won't know what is going on in the other part of the world unless we conducted some research, right? We conducted some research, and this is what I and my friends did before we established the civil society coalition against corona. We investigate, we ask the people, we observe what is going on in our society, and then also some of us have an education on human rights and law background. So this is very important also as well. And then get involved. Get involved. This KLC is involuntary. Is voluntary, has no legal entity, but all its members have a sense to help our community out of trouble because of this corona. I would like to tell you maybe about big organization that I joined before, like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, Climate Reality, belongs by the Al Gore's. They usually have the local chapters all over the place that we can join as a volunteer, if not as an employee. And 5, join the conversation. Join the conversation. This is what social media campaigns are very important. At this time, it's also important to invite friends from the media to help us to share our story, our advocacy process that we experience, obstacle, and also the success story. And then maintain a support of the network is very important also during this in every activities or networks. So when I first the first time established this KLC or coalition civil society coalition against corona, I have a physical and emotional exhausting. I was so feel tired, disappointed by rejection many times, rude comments from friends. So we need to know our limitation regarding this when we establish like a coalition like this. Okay, this I would like to show you this some of activism and social media that has been well known in the world, like Arab Spring. This is in Tunisia, social media for political uprising. documenting violence, exercising freedom of speech, and creating space for civic engagement. This is conducted by the Young College, for the Arab Spring. And then Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is an online community to combat anti-Black racism and police violence to African American. It's very famous because of the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and it's contagious into the world. And then Me Too movement is also social justice movement. This is built by the activists on to fight against sexual violence by the young activists, and they use the social media for campaigning. And then social media to uplift voice and stories. So this we have some how do you call it, the objective of the social media is to share the activities, our lived experience in our movement, and then to promote the event or the webinar, for instance, and then also to make a video documentation as well towards the social media that can be used like Facebook, YouTube, and then Instagram story, and other social media platform, and also to viral the news or the activities towards this platform of social media. This is how social media is very important for the activists like me to share what we have done, what is the story of the victims, what is the story of the advocacy process, what is the challenge as well during the advocacy. And then I would like to mention about the in the closing that everyone can play a role in encouraging and also pushing for positive change, to empower others to empower others to gain, to get their rights, and also all of us we should aware about our rights as well. For example, to speak up for a college that has been treated us unwell, and then protest about the sexism for the women, and then patriarchy behavior, and then to promote freedom of expression. It's very important for us to speak, to give the opinion in written or in the forums. And then also using social media is very significant during my activities, because I can reach more people, and also globally, regionally, and at the local level as well. And also these activities can activities of from the activities of social justice can also we can compile it as a story, also as a story, and also as a mapping for and also to make notes for the purpose of to get proposal grants, for instance, to support the our activities. Like I did before with I got I received 3 Australian grant scheme previously, because I documented all the stories and the methodologies, the process, the advocacy process, and then we have as a team we have received the 3 Australian grant scheme because of that. The first one regarding the story about the farmer, the vulnerable farmer in the East Java, and the second one is the following up of the advocacy facilitation for the vulnerable farmer in East Java as well. And the third one, the current Australia grant scheme is about the empowering the fisher folk in West Java. So we found that the fisher folk had difficulty to access to their rights, like the some money from the cooperatives. They don't get the money, right, for their small enterprises, and then how they don't know how to use the digital platform. So we teach them how to use digital platform to sell the products of the fish, for instance. So this is, I think I would like to end my presentation. Okay, I'll give the time to moderator now.
Thank you very much, Ibu Nukila. What an inspiring story, Ibu. I have some notes of conclusion from Ibu Nukila's presentation. So it is important to have a good collaboration from various stakeholders with different backgrounds in responding to the sensitive issues in the pandemic era. And we should have a collaboration with other alumni to address these social issues. For example, designing and implementing social and behavior campaigns to the community. Especially, we can use social media to uplift the voice. And Bu Nukila also mentions there are many funding platforms provided by the Australian government. So we could create an impactful project using this funding platform, such as alumni grant scheme, advance awards alumni, and many more. Okay, thank you, Ibu. And now the second speaker is Mr. Nick Calpakdjian. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
That's cool. Okay. Nick is a filmmaker based in Southeast Asia since 2010, producing and editing a range of documentary and drama for regional broadcasters and cinema. He co-founded the documentary productions house 2 Island Digital in 2015. He is a 2020 alumni of Berliner Talent. In 2013, Nick co-produced and edited Timor-Leste's first native language feature film Beatrice War. The film premiered at the Adelaide International Film Festival before winning Best Film at the 44th Annual India International Film Festival, amongst other festival appearances. Nick produced and edited Ismail Fahmi Lubi's award-winning 2019 documentary Help is on the Way for Go Play Indonesia and PTS Taiwan. Nick has also edited a number of significant films, including Traffic, The Reckoning, Rosa's Journey, Survival School, and Rising from Silence. He is currently in production of Arfan Sabran's Rabia and Mimi and Ismail Fahmi Lubi's Tatung. Nick graduated from Curtin University in 2000 with a Bachelor of Arts, Mass Communications, majoring in Film and Television and Multimedia Design. In 2002, he graduated from Curtin University with a Bachelor of Arts, Screen Arts with honors. And since 2019, he has completing a master's in secondary teaching part-time online through Curtin University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Nick Calpakdjian.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I'm just going to share a presentation so you can look at some more interesting photos than looking at me the whole time. Here we go. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. As I've been introduced, my name is Calpakdjian, and I am a filmmaker, but I'm also a business owner, I'm a student, I'm a father, husband, and occasionally an amateur football player. And some of these things I have been for a very long time, and others not for so long. And I'm happy to have asked to be talked here today, but I have to admit it's a little bit foreign for me. I usually only speak publicly in two ways, and one is to pitch a film. I'll go to a film market and I will try to sell the idea of a film. And then nobody wants to talk to me again until after the film is finished. And then people have questions about the film and want to discuss the issues, and we promote the film. So being asked to present something related more to me and to my overall work is a little bit frightening, but let's see how we go. Before I talk a little bit about what the theme of this event, Empower and Thrive, means to me and what I do in life and business, I want to give a brief but hopefully interesting account of how I ended up here in Jakarta talking to you all. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to this presentation. Rather than talk all about empowerment and how it works in a film, I want to talk about how I ended up making films that empower people. And so given this is a Curtin alumni event, I will start talking about just before I got to university, because that's really, I guess, where my journey started. And I graduated high school in 1997, and I had no idea of what to do next, except for the realization that I knew I didn't want to be working full time. So I wanted to study, and I also wasn't sure what to do. So I chose a degree that would give me the most amount of flexibility. And so I majored in film and I majored in design, and I scattered in some units on cultural studies and some really boring business units. But in general, the degree was fun. I didn't overly excel, but what I did find was my calling to be a film editor. And that's really what I've ended up doing for the next 20 years. And if I skip forward to what I am now and I produce films, the only reason I produce films is so that I can edit them. I wanted to work on films that inspire me and that I'm passionate about, so I chose to produce the films that I could then edit later on. But going back to end of university, I did a few internships straight out of school, and I assisted on films. I went back and studied my honours in 2002, and I was researching how one would go about designing an interactive television network. And something like that didn't exist back in the early 2000s. And to be honest, my concept was superseded very quickly over the next 10 years with the advent of DVD and online and everything that we know and experience now in the film and media industry. But I worked in the industry as an editor, starting on Australian commercial television shows, and I moved to Melbourne to work on music videos and commercials and sporting television and things like that. But to be honest, my true calling for editing was always to work in the documentary field. And I love documentaries as a genre, and I loved working on them because it meant I got to absorb myself and learn something new every 4 weeks, every 10 weeks, sometimes 12 months, 18 months. Every project was incredibly different, and every project would lead me into a different direction. And that was really inspiring for me, that I could meet other inspiring people that wanted to tell stories. And my job was to help them tell the story in the best possible way. As an editor, I never viewed the films that I was working on as my own. I always viewed it as my responsibility to help the director or the producer tell the story that they wanted to tell. So I had a say in that film, but my job was to help tell their story. And I've always tried to keep that grounding, I guess, and use that as my sort of baseline when I approach a new film. So one set of projects led me to Timor-Leste back in 2007. We were making a film over there for a few years, and the time period that I was there was when President Horta was shot towards the end of the 06-07 crisis that was unfolding. And amongst all the turmoil and the hardship that Timor was facing, I fell in love with the country, and I made every excuse over the next years to travel back there and to join projects there. So I would go back to Timor to work on a documentary. I would go back there to work on a sports show. I would go back to volunteer for an arts and cultural organizations, just to be within that country, because I just had a deep love for the country. And in 2010, I had the opportunity to move to Timor and help run a film school, as well as work on some other documentaries that the company was making. And so I had planned to go there for 9 months and put my life in Melbourne into storage, and flew there as I was I think I had just turned 30. And I ended up being there for 3 years, and I've never been back to Australia permanently since. And it was in those 3 years in Timor that I really cemented what I didn't know at the time to be considered as this idea of empowerment. And it was growing out of the film school that myself and a group of Australians and New Zealanders collaborated with a large number of Timorese to produce Timor-Leste's first local language feature film, Australia de Beatriz. And films had been made in Timor before. We'd made many films there, and they were good films, but they were films made by non-Timorese for a non-Timorese audience about people that we actually weren't. So while they were good films, they ultimately didn't empower anyone except maybe us as the filmmakers and a foreign audience. So our careers as filmmakers were thriving, but for whose purpose were these stories told? What did they do for the communities that we were making films about? And what did they do for the people of Timor-Leste? They were the questions that kept coming up in my mind during that time. But the film, Australia de Beatriz, was different for me. The film was truly a collaboration with Timorese artists, co-writing, co-directing, co-producing, leading the casting and art departments. It was in Tetun language. It was a Timorese story told through the eyes of the people who lived that story. And it empowered these people, and it changed my life in many ways. It changed how I thought about making films, why we make them, and who they're for. It also happened that during this time in Timor, it's where I ended up meeting my wife, and through the twists of life, we ended up moving to Jakarta. And when I came to Indonesia, I guess I wanted to ease into a different life. And after 3 years of quite full-on documentary and drama filmmaking and education, I eased into life in Indonesia in a very funny way by spending 9 months making a 3-hour documentary series about the history of heavy metal in Australia. So I did a lot of traveling, I did a lot of filming, and I did a lot of editing. And I released this 3-part series on the day my daughter was born. And this film has nothing to do with empowerment, except for that I made a decision when I made the film to put every dollar that I earned from making that film into my children's education. So I opened an account for them, and in the back of my mind, I had this weird idea that it would be very funny in 20 years' time when they got to university, that they could tell their friends that they paid for their education through the proceeds of an Australian heavy metal music documentary. So that was my little break or segue. But then I started to grow restless, and I started to think about the things that we were doing in Timor and the types of films that we were making. And in 2015, I teamed up with my co-producer, and we started a company called Two Islands Digital. And I'd never run a company before, a real company. I'd always been a sole operator or self-operator. And I have to say that being a foreigner, a predominantly English speaker, trying to run a local company in Indonesia is probably not the smartest move I've ever made, but I've definitely learned on the run. And really what we said about building as a company was a company that could do two things. One, it could obviously pay for our wages, and importantly, with work that we enjoyed doing. And secondly, we could develop and produce documentary films about issues that mattered to us and that we believe needed to be shared. And ideally, these would be funded. But if not, then the projects of other films or the proceeds of other films we were doing would pay for those documentaries. So one way or another, we'd be making the films that we cared about. So just to give you a little taste of the variety of work that we do within our company 2ID, I'll just play a short trailer, and then I'll try to dig a little bit deeper into this idea of empowerment and thrive. So I'll just share a video. So as you can see, we do a lot of different work, and what happened early in our company was that we had to do a lot more work in the corporate and commercial side to fund the kinds of documentaries that we wanted to make. And I think from the video there, you can see that we also have a very strong interest in food and jump at every chance to do anything to do with food. But I guess thinking back to this idea of empowering and thriving, it's a really interesting theme for me and something that I might, I guess, interpret a little bit differently to how you might expect. As I've reflected on what it means to empower and thrive, or to be empowered and thrive, I've realized that for me, it's a bit like a rolling ocean. It's got peaks and troughs. And there are times when I feel ready to launch a new project, to follow an issue or a story, make a film and present it to the world. And there's other times where I feel I have to take a step back, empower myself before I can launch again. And this self-empowerment has been very important for me, because the whole idea of empowerment has actually been difficult for me to grasp and embrace from a film point of view. Thinking about whose point of view a story is told from and why it matters is something that I've had to learn about and consider really thoughtfully. And so every time I make a film, I have to reflect on what that film achieved, where it failed, how it could be improved, and how it can do more to empower the people within the story and those we seek to affect. In 2020, we released our film, Help Is On The Way, after almost 2 years in production and with minimal support. The film explored the world of Indonesian migrant workers and how they sought to work abroad in Taiwan as domestic workers. And so I'll just share the trailer for this. I might cut it short because it's a 3-minute trailer, but I just want to give you an idea of the type of storytelling we use in these films. So I'll just switch.
Gini loh, tuh kayak orang sholat, tapi nggak boleh nempel, nggak boleh melotot. Sip, senyum lagi, kelihatan giginya boleh.
Ani Sumeri.
Ani Sumeri, mau kemana Mbak Ani?
Mau ke Taiwan.
Bulan ini masa uji coba, makanya kalian jangan kaget nanti kelomboh ininya sama tai, tangan, apa, bau-bauan nih, jangan
Dulu sih iya, saya berapa bulan tuh nangis terus. Saya pakai mukena tuh. Katanya, mama ada pampir, dia bilang gitu. Ih buset, saya bukan pampir kata saya. Tapi udah sama mem nggak boleh. Kamu nggak boleh sholat katanya. Anak saya takut katanya kamu sholat. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, hayya 'alas shalah, hayya 'alal falah, qad qamatis shalah, qad qamatis shalah.
Iya, yang nggak ngerti tanya apa? Kita tanya mama.
sama Google. Apa kan janda kok widow? Iya konon.
Video, coba ya, coba penasaran ya.
Apa bahasa Inggrisnya janda?
Oh iya benar,
berarti
video. Apa bahasa Mandarinnya aku sayang kamu?
Iya.
So this film was a big step up for our company, and it won a bunch of awards here locally in Indonesia, and has been screening at 20 odd film festivals around the world, and it's still screening, and we're still seeing the film broadcast in Indonesia and in Taiwan and Korea, in Japan soon. But just as importantly, as the making of the film, is that we sought a small grant and launched an impact campaign just as COVID was taking grip. And we partnered with schools and teachers and migrant worker organisations, media and influencers to screen the film, hold discussions, create study guides, debate the issues, and most importantly, give a voice to the migrant workers in the film. So our main characters took centre stage at the press conferences and the online discussions and within the media. They spoke for themselves as they had done in the film, and now they were in the promoting of the film. So we were very new to social impact campaigns, and we learnt a lot, and I'm still learning a lot as I go forward. And so now we're ensuring that with our social issue films that we produce, we're thinking about impact and empowerment right from the start. It's not something that we make the film and then we think about what can this film do. It really has to come the other way. And to be honest, again, I'm still learning how this works, and I'm not the expert. And so we try to pull in the experts from their field. If we're making a film about migrant workers, there are many, many, many more qualified people in Indonesia and our region that understand migrant workers' issues better than us. So we work with them. So just as I race through to the end, I just very briefly want to talk about the three major projects that we have in production going forward. And one is a follow-up to this film, Help Is On The Way, and it's an animated short documentary, and it looks at the impact of COVID on migrant workers. And we partnered with the CUACI Foundation and brought on board a full-time impact producer so we can produce the film, and then throughout all of 2022, it will be about promoting the film and having an impact campaign that works to create empathy for migrant workers and push for policy change. We're also in the final stages of production on a feature-length film exploring the health industry in Indonesia, and specifically the lack of care for people living in remote islands. And so we're producing a film that's looking at a mother and daughter team that work in the remote Flores Sea. And this is a film that we've funded through a co-production with Japanese television broadcasters, as well as a major foundation, which I can't actually name for legal reasons. And lastly, we're in production on probably our most ambitious film to date, which is a 4K feature documentary exploring a unique family of Tatungs in Kalimantan. And this is a film that we've received support from the Ministry of Culture here in Indonesia, and we'll be bringing this film to market in November at Tokyo Docs. And so through all of this, over 20 years of working in the film industry, this theme of empowerment and thriving is now in my mind front and center, and I think about what it means constantly. And I think that although I may not have always recognized it, it's been there all along. And I empower myself to thrive in my work, which inadvertently empowers the characters in the film and the audiences and stakeholders interested in the film's subject to thrive and empower. So films have an extraordinary power. They can move people in different ways. And so with that comes responsibility. And I feel like every time I'm being somewhat overwhelmed by the project I'm working on, it's time to take stock, to reload myself, to study, to research, to develop before stepping forward again. So thank you very much. I hope my presentation made sense and I've inspired you just a little bit about my journey to here today, and I welcome any questions or thoughts and debate that you might have about the work that I do and this idea of empowerment. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Nick. What an inspiring and interesting story. I would love to watch all those movies, definitely. That's really, really nice. Okay, I have some conclusions from Nick's presentation. Film is a powerful communication tool. When the right film meets the right audience, amazing things can happen. And Nick has focused on documentary filmmaking as a positive way to empower communities around the world. These documentaries allow to audiences to bring awareness to the social issues. And we look forward to seeing your future work, Nick. We wish you all the best and thank you for inspirations you share with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And okay, everyone, now it's time for question and answer session. And we will be running this session for 15 minutes. Once again, we would like to remind all of you who wish to ask any questions. Please go to Slido by clicking the link on the chat group. Wow. All right. Looks like we have many questions. Which one? The first question? Okay. This question for Ibu Nukila. Yeah. How, Ibu Nukila? The question, how to create an effective social media campaign for social justice issues?
Yes, okay. How to create
effective social media campaign for social justice issues?
Okay. I think the first is to determine the goal. The goals, for example, for instance, our goal is to how do you call the one? That the government should ensure free and affordable vaccination, for instance, for everyone. The way is to that we have to do first to also to determine the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this campaign? For instance, Ministry of Law and Human Rights, for instance, or Ministry of Health, and then or the local government, Ministry of Village, and so on. And then you can send the campaign with the exact or simple methods to them, because they're and also easily to digest to the government, and reminds them, for example, hashtag vaccination is free. So this is how to make a good campaign for the justice, for the social justice issue for media campaign.
Okay, the next question. What are the challenges when you work in the social justice field, Ibu?
What the
And
challenge?
how do you respond to the challenge?
Yeah. The challenge, I think the most one is from the government in general, yeah, because especially because the corona or the COVID-19 issues is still the government domain. The government domain. Another challenge is to be careful with the information and transaction electronic law, because we have to check the data and so on. Otherwise, we can be penalized for the unpleasant action, for instance, legal articles.
Yeah.
The challenge is also gathering friends who are similar to us, who are not who have the good heart, same vision and mission. We need to find that person who have the sense to help, not for the reputation and not for just for the name or something like that. So if it not works, usually we need to do some alternatives. During my advocacy, I did alternative A. I provide alternative A and B or C, and also if, for instance, I send the petition letter to the certain ministry and it didn't work. and then I can do alternatives like a lobby to the government, to the parliament, for instance. And if it didn't work, then I did alternative C, which is like a international campaign or regional campaigns towards the certain agencies or international organization. That's we need to have these three alternatives.
Yeah.
I mean more than three also.
Right. Any other question?
I'll respond.
Bu Nukila, other question for you.
Yeah.
How do in our efforts to get involved in social justice issues, how do we reveal the true using social media without worrying about the IT law threat?
I think this is the most concern one, yeah. The most I think for us, for everyone here, we need to read and check the ITE law carefully, because this is like a, how do you call it, a rubber article, because if we don't careful to conduct our like advocacy or facilitation or other form of activities, we will got this legal articles, and we will send to jail or prosecute to the trial. So my suggestion is to read carefully, because in reality we have this one, right? And also use appropriate words or campaign to avoid the penalization or criminalization of this IT law. That's my question.
Thank you.
That's my answer.
Thank you. I want to ask
what has been your observation of young people respond in joining chapter? Yes, I think for the young people, they are more sensitive based on my experience. They are more sensitive. They're burning. They're easily burning with when they hear about injustice or something like that. They are creative, more creative in using social media. They have their own causes. For example, fundraising. They can making YouTube videos and also publishing and using influencer. This is the more strategic one, using the influencers. They like publication, they like spotlighting, and then they're really good on making creativity on social media. And I think the successful one to use the social media is based on some research. The most viewers from any social media is YouTube. So I think that's my answer.
Another question, Bu. After reaching the main goals of the movement, what will be done next to make it sustainable?
Oh yeah, to make it more sustainable, I think is I think the first one. That's why we need to set the goals first. Set the goals, the strategy, and then also to engage with the stakeholders. We have to mapping of the stakeholders, and also engagement, and then check whether our to evaluate also our movement or advocacy documented well, and the data is relevant. This is what I call sustainable, because we have documented data, and then mapping of the stakeholders, they who do what, who do this. So it's very important also more targeted of the stakeholders, and the audience is very important from the very beginning of the advocacy.
Right. Thanks, Bu. Okay, the last question to Ibu, for you, Ibu. Is there any efforts coming from Indonesia which can be considered similar as Black Lives Matter?
There is one in Indonesia, it calls Papuan Lives Matter. But this is this is only my personal opinion. It lacks of originality because because it just follow the pattern of the Black Lives Matter. So it needs more creativity to use the hashtag or objective of the campaign on the goals of the campaigns. So this is because we cannot copy, right, from Black Lives Matter to the context of, for instance, Papuan Lives Matter.
All right, thank you, Ibu. Okay, now the question for Pak Nick. Hello, Pak Nick.
Hello.
Yeah, first question, do you have a YouTube channel?
We do, but there's nothing on there of interest. The Two Islands Digital has a YouTube channel, but it really just has our trailers on there. I think I'll look for it and pop the link in the chat box.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And how do you explore the local culture when you make a film or documentary, as it will take time to know them?
Yeah, it's a good question. What we try to do is work with people that have an intimate knowledge of the story, the place, the people, so that we're not coming in as outsiders and trying to show the rest of the world something interesting about this place. So we'll always work with filmmakers that are already embedded in that place and know the characters intimately. And that might mean that we're looking for people who have been developing the particular story for a long time before we decide to make a film, because otherwise it's very difficult just to come in and make a film about something when you're learning about that place on the go. So we try to work with filmmakers that already are there and have an intimate understanding of that local culture.
Right, thank you. Oh, that's a question where we can watch the film version. The movie Hub is on the way, Mr. Nick.
Help us in Indonesia. It's available on Gojek's GoPlay platform, which is a paid platform, subscription platform. And for schools and universities and libraries, I believe it will soon be available through a new platform called Vitamin, which is being launched, I think, early next year for educators to be able to use documentary films in teaching. But if you are an organisation or an individual that is interested in screening the film as part of a discussion about the issues in the film, or to hold a community screening, then you can always get in touch with us, and we're always happy to give permission for people to screen the film on behalf of their community.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. If someone wants to make a documentary just like you, what is the first thing we need to do? Where is the starting point?
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the technical side of being a filmmaker, knowing what it takes to make a film, and whether you want to be the director, the producer, the camera person, or the editor. There's that technical side. But I guess my advice for anyone who is interested in making and being involved in documentary films is to be interested in what is going on in the world around you. You can't be insular and only focused on the things that interest you, because that might not be interesting for anybody else in the world. So you have to be inquisitive about the world. So you want to read newspapers, magazines, blogs. You need to talk to people, be inspired by other people, because I think it's very difficult to wake up one day and decide, I want to make a film about migrant workers. And so I'm going to go and find people that I can put in my film. You can do that, but it always works better when you've you're interested in many different areas, and then one day you're talking to somebody who says, I heard a very interesting story about another friend in Indonesia whose friend went to Taiwan to do ABC. And then you have a starting point, and you have a real person and a real issue, and it ignites something in your mind where you go, oh yeah, I remember reading that article a year ago about this, and you go from there. So you want to cast your net wide on things that interest you, and then you want to keep your ears open when people are talking, because people have really interesting things to say all the time if you're listening properly.
Right. Okay. What would you think has been your proudest achievements in your filmmaking journey, and how much would you say have your films empowered people?
Yeah, I guess I'm proud of all my films in different ways. Some films are terrible films, but they were stepping stones to something else in another film. And so I'm still proud of the things that I learned in those bad films. I just don't show the film to anybody. But I was really proud of my work on A Guerra de Beatrice's War. And I think in a way that film potentially had the most impact in that we worked with the people in the film for so long, for so many years, and we still see their careers building, and a lot of them are still involved in not necessarily filmmaking, because it's very, let's say in Timor, there's a very small industry there's no industry for film, but there's a very good theatre industry. And so a lot of the people we worked with came from a theatre background, and they've taken the things that we learned together in film, and they're still working in theatre, and the film screened over and over again all across Timor, and we took it all around Australia, and we held small screenings here in Indonesia. And I think that's a film that the people involved in the film have gone on to use it as a tool to better themselves. And for the local population, it's created a sense of pride within them, that they see their story on screen and they can talk about it freely and feel like finally there's something that represents us properly. It's not a film where Australians have come in and made it about them, or the Koreans have come in and made it about them. It's a film made from within. So I think from that sense, it's had a great impact.
Good. Cool. How do you find time to study a lot, read a lot, practice a lot with the film or editing tools? What's the secret to a successful film that impact costs?
Okay. Well, these questions are always in two parts. Yeah, finding the time is difficult, and you really have, for me personally, it means I get up very early before my kids get up, so that I can have some hours to myself to do my study and to do my personal things that I need to get myself going. But I guess the biggest challenge is working in the creative industries and managing a business is often at conflict with each other, because the things you want to do creatively don't make business sense at all. And so, yeah, I find that everything happens in chunks. So if we need to be editing a film, then that's actually all I can be doing. I need to shut the door and say the next 2 months are just editing, and then 100% focus there, and then deal with whatever crisis that's created afterwards. So yeah, it's a juggling act, and you just have to find time to set aside for each thing and prioritize what is most important to move yourself to the next stage, or your film to the next stage. And then what's the secret to a successful film that has impact? There's no secret, but I think what I believe is most successful in any film is a film that creates an emotional impact. And that doesn't mean that you have to be crying at the end of the film. It means that you have to present characters in your film that an audience can be empathetic towards. And so no matter what the issue is, if you're making a film about plastic and pollution, you have to find a character and a story and a journey within that is going to create an emotional link to your audience. So there has to be somewhere in that film where I'm sitting on my couch and I recognize part of myself in the film. And that's more important than presenting facts and figures and statistics. And it's the biggest challenge that we face as a company that produces films for impact and messaging, is trying to influence often communication teams from corporate companies and organizations and NGOs who think that it's more important to present the facts and figures to their audience, and that's because they need to take that learning away. And it's always difficult for us to encourage them to put that aside and create a piece of media, whether it's a single photo, an animation, a short film, a PDF document, that creates an emotional link to the person that you want to talk to, because they can go and find the statistics afterwards and the information afterwards if you've created that interest. If you present the information first, then you're not going to create a lasting connection. But if you connect them to that emotion, they will then do a lot of that hard work themselves and search out more information.
All right, we have 3 other questions, right? The movie look awesome, great impact, I believe. Just curious if there are any government agencies actually reaching out to your team. Nick.
Not directly, but but it's not to say that we also don't reach out directly to government agencies. I have to say that during last year, when COVID was really causing havoc with the filmmaking community and a lot of freelancers' ability to be able to work, the Ministry of Culture and Education was actually quite proactive in creating grants and funds available for filmmakers to produce content that could then be used by the ministries for their work. For things like Help is on the Way and the migration issues, we haven't gone directly to the agencies and they haven't come to us. We've tried to work more with organisations like Migrant Care and the Cruel Whale Foundation and others to let them use our film and our characters and as tools for themselves, and then leave the policy work to them, because they understand the structural needs of these issues better than us. And then it's actually also safer for us to have the agencies go to those organisations that are better equipped to deal with it. And maybe I'm a little bit paranoid, but as a non-Indonesian creating films about potentially contentious issues in Indonesia, it's not always smart for me to be known by the government.
Understand. All right. Next question, please. What is the biggest challenge you have experienced so far, Nick?
Every film has a different challenge. Every film always has the challenge of finance, because the documentary in Indonesia, the documentary genre is not that well supported, and there's no real commercial television networks or even public broadcaster that has any interest in paying for a documentary. And so one of the biggest challenges, and there are organizations like Indocs that do a lot of fantastic work, is actually building audience understanding of what a documentary film is and what it's for, and how it can be just as entertaining and more informative than other forms of television. So there's always a challenge with raising money for a film, and there's often a challenge with educating audiences about what to expect from these kinds of films. But I guess more than that, the biggest challenge of the last few years, and it's a bit of the theme of what everyone's talking about today, is like perspective and empowerment in a film. What's really challenging for me as a white Australian man is making films about Indonesian people, often women. And I've done this all through my career. The films that I've been involved in are never about white Australian men. That doesn't interest me at all. But that's the lens that I look at things through, and I can't escape that. So my biggest challenge is to always make sure I'm working with people that have the correct perspective on the story and the issue, and that I'm not putting my my perspective on it in a negative way. My perspective matters, but if it doesn't serve the purpose of the film, then I have to allow myself to be pushed aside and ensure that the right perspective is being put forward. So that's the big challenge that I face as a white man in Asia. Yeah. It's incredibly difficult.
Right. All right. All right. The lucky last question. How long is the fastest time needed to make a documentary movie?
It's always relative. Our films take a long time because the style of our films are observational, and so we don't script the film before we shoot the film. We always have an idea of what we want to happen, and then it goes from there. If a network commissions us to make a film, then there's a deadline, and it's a very different process. And so we've made many short documentaries for broadcasters where the turnaround time is 6 weeks, something like that. But Help Is on the Way was a year of development, and then about 10 months of filming, and then another 6 months of editing before it was released. And then it's still being screened, and we're still involved in the promotion of the film. So it's a multi-year project. But then something like Rabia and Mimi, it's a film that I've been involved in since late 2019, but the director has been filming that story since 2006. So for him, it's a 15-year journey, and one that will still go on for another 12 months. But to tell our story, it might only be 1 year of work within that, but it's all that time leading up to it which makes that ability to tell their story so much more effective, because they have a relationship that you can't develop in 1 week. You can't turn up and shoot that. That's built on 15 years of relationship. So yeah, fast is not good with documentary.
Yes. All right, everyone, thank you very much for being with us in the discussion, and we are approaching the end of the discussion. And again, thank you very much for our guest speakers, Ibu Nukila dan Pak Nick. We wish you all the best for you both. Stay safe and healthy. Let us give them a big applause. Before we continue for the next session, let's take a photo. Don't forget to turn the camera on and smile.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, now we have the quiz session. So the good news is we have 5 winners later on, and they will get a special merchandise from CUACI. Oh, that's so good. For this session, I will hand over to Pak Aditya.
Okay, thank you.
The CUACI quiz session.
Yes,
all right.
Thank
you, Pak Aditya.
Okay, can you all see my screen now?
No. Yeah,
not
no, I
yet.
can. Yes, I
Okay.
can.
Yeah, is it on now?
Yes.
Okay.
All good,
Okay.
all
Thank
good.
you. Yes. Thank you. So the for this quiz, we will be using an online tool called Menti. So what you do is you just open a new window in your laptop, or you can use your smartphone. Open the internet browser, go to the menti.com, and then enter the 8-digit code number and on the top of my slide. So you can all see the 8-digit code, right? And once you enter the 8-digit code and then click submit, you will be able to see a heart symbol. And then when you click the heart symbol in my presentation on the lower right corner of my presentation will be reacting. See, it means now there are 3 people who have clicked. So you don't have to click, but when you click the heart symbol, it will be reacting in my PowerPoint slide. So I will just wait a little bit longer, maybe a few more seconds to give time for people to join in this quiz. Yeah. Once again, open your internet browser, either in your laptop or in your smartphone. Go to menti.com, enter the 8-digit code number at the top of my presentation slide. Click submit, and then you will see a heart sign. You click the heart sign, and then you will be interacting with my presentation slide here. Yes, okay. There are 13 people already clicking, but it doesn't mean that there are only 13 people joining. So I think I should start.
Wait, Pak.
Yes, wait.
Wait, Pak. Wait.
Okay. Still need more time. Yeah. Okay, 15 now. Okay. And just in case if you have problem connecting, you can always jump in during while the quiz is in session. But of course, if you have missed several questions, that means it will reduce your chance for winning to become one of the 5 winners. Okay. Maybe I'll just wait until we have 20. Yeah, 20 people clicking doesn't mean that only 20 people joining. Okay. Okay. I will mention the rules and information. So the rules and information for this quiz is first. Oh, sorry. First, there will be music, just like what you just heard. So don't be startled, because sometimes the music on your side can be very loud. I don't know why, but sometimes even though I have adjust the music, but on the participant side, it can be very loud. Okay. And then once I start the quiz, you will be given an automatic choice of avatar. So you cannot choose, but you can enter your nickname. But for this quiz, could you please use your full name? Because the committee has asked that only people with the full name can be the winner. So if you win, but you only use your nickname, then yeah, you will lose the prize. Okay. And then if you answer faster, you will get more points. So answer fast, but correctly as well. Okay, there will be 9 questions, and with a leaderboard or scoreboard after each question, so you will know what's your ranks. So every questions will change the ranks accordingly based on your correct answer and your how fast you are answering. And then at the end of the quiz, the first 5 participants are the winners. And then these 5 winners, please write down your name and your WhatsApp number on the chat box in the Zoom software, so that the committee will be able to take down your name, and then we'll later contact you for sending the prize. If you are joining us via YouTube, of course, you cannot type in your name and WhatsApp number in the chat, but you can also type in the comment section in the YouTube. Okay, ready? Okay, ready? I will wait for maybe a few seconds until you type in your full name, right? Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for the technical trouble in the in the last question. Okay. So while you are waiting, could you please give like I will be screenshot the winner, and then while waiting, could you please type in your short maybe message or impressions while I am working behind the scene. Okay. Okay. First winner is Tiki. Second winner is Anyulandi Lewalu.
Thank you.
Third winner is Raihan. Fourth winner is Andi Sutrisno, and then fifth winner is Fadila Ramadan Putri Nasution. Yes, so yeah, sorry about the technical problem in the last question. Okay, go back to the MC.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Pak Aditya, and congratulations to all winners. And please send your address via Zoom chat or directly to CUACI. We will send the gift to you all. Okay, I will have some announcements. Maybe I can read and also is displaying on the screen. For the e-certificates will be available in 1 or 2 weeks. To obtain the certificate, please fill out the evaluation form that is shared through Zoom chat. For further information about Curtin University, please contact Patricia Kelly, and CUACI merchandise such as batik, nilam, gob sanitizer, face mask, book Mengelola Harapan, and so on, ordered at, maybe you can read there, s.id/CUACI merch. And CUACI book, Bertahan Dalam Normal yang Baru, Percepatan Era 4 Menyongsong Percepatan. And next month, there will be Curtin Alumni Asia Inspiring Talks, Series 3, a joint collaboration between Curtin alumni chapters in Asia, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Japan. Sri Lanka will be the host for the event. There will be collaboration with Queensland University of Technology Indonesia community in November 2021. Stay tuned, everyone. All right. Next, we will continue. We'll move to the annual general meeting 2021. Anyone who is interested in joining the AGM, please feel free to join us, and the AGM will be delivered in Bahasa Indonesia.